So I shall present a brief discussion on the concepts related to arrays in this session. So here's a walkthrough of the topics: a brief introduction to arrays, one-dimensional and two-dimensional arrays, characters, and an array of characters which are regarded as strings. So by now we are quite aware about the primitive data types, namely char, double, int, float. All these data types basically are able to accommodate single values. So when we need to have a collection of values, so it is highly impossible for us to accommodate within these primitive data types. Therefore, when it comes to storing a collection of data, all of the data being of the same type, we resort to what are called as arrays. So an array is a fixed size sequence collection of elements of the same data type. In the sense, you can have a collection of all integers, a collection of all floating point data types, or a collection of all characters. So it is not possible for you to have a collection that has mixed elements involved. So here is an example as to why arrays are required. You might have to store a list of temperatures recorded every hour in a day or a month. You might have to store the list of the employees in an organization. You might have to store the list of products available at a single store or a mall. You might have to record the test scores of a class of students. So we can use arrays to represent not only simple list of values but also table of data. So when you have a linear arrangement of data, you have a single dimensional array, and when you have a two-dimensional arrangement of elements, as I will put up in the next few sessions, that would be referred to as a table of data. So as such, we have 1D, one-dimensional arrays, two-dimensional arrays, and multi-dimensional arrays. So here is a glance at how the declaration of a one-dimensional array would look like. So the type corresponds to the data type. The variable name is something which you would choose just like the ones which you have used before. The size talks about what is the maximum size that is specific to the collection that you're talking about. So here is an example for that. So you might want to have an array, that is a collection of elements where the individual elements are basically characters, and you want to restrict the maximum size to 10. So the data type here would be char, the name of the variable would be name, and this is the maximum storage. So suppose let's imagine that we would like to store the string called well done within the string called name. Name hereafter would be referred to as string because it's an array of characters. So an array of characters is often referred to as string. So this is how the layout would look like. So an array always begins with 0th location. Therefore, it would go to the 9th location in the last. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So your W gets stored at name of 0, E at name of 1, L at name of 2, and the last location which you would see is what is called as the null character. When you come to strings, the last location is always the null character which terminates a particular string. Here is yet another example where you're talking about a collection of elements where all the elements are basically of the type integer. So here you have the data type int. This is the name of the variable, and the maximum size restricted to 5. So number of 0 would be the first location at which the first element resides. Number of 1 would be the location of the second element. Number of 2, the location of the third element. Number of 3, the location of the fourth. And number of 5, the location of the last element. So you can see that the indexing, the index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It always starts with 0 and it goes to n minus 1, where n is the maximum number of elements. So here is the same. So 35 probably is stored at number of 0 and 19 at the last location. So initialization of one-dimensional arrays could be happening in two ways. One is at compile time, the other one is at runtime. And it is quite important that you always initialize the arrays, without which it is quite possible you have some junk values which are often referred to as garbage stored within them. So coming to compile time initialization, this is something it would look like. You have the data type int, the name of the array number, the maximum size of this is 3. So you have stored 0, 0, 0. So at number of 0, you have